Hello everybody, what is going on, and welcome to this redirect video that I promised would be out in November, and it is not November. It's like pretty close though, so you can't really be too upset. Anyways, hi everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to some more Let's Watch My Hero Academia. In this final session of the season, we have, how many episodes? It's quite a few, hold on. We have 6 episodes. Pretty cool, man. And just as a warning beforehand, it's a pretty janky session of episodes. I believe the first 4 episodes were all recorded at once. And then I think episode 5 of this batch of episodes, which was episode, I forget the number. It's episode 158, I think. But I forget which, number that is this season. But the 5th episode in this batch was recorded, I had about 5 to 10 minutes in it that I recorded. And then, I think another episode in this batch was also recorded in 2 different chunks. I forget which episode that was. The point is, this was recorded over the course of 3 days, I think. And the final 2 episodes were actually recorded out of town in a hotel. If I recall correctly, in the last redirect video, I mentioned that I was going to record the final 2 episodes in a hotel room. And I did. I was able to. I recorded it on my laptop with different headphones. I was using the same mic, but I was sure it was going to sound weird because it was a big room and I was sure the echo would sound bad and all that, but it actually came out sounding pretty good. The main difference was that I was quieter, but besides that, it mostly sounded the same, which I'm quite proud of. So my planning went fairly well, I'd say. Anyways, the point is that this batch is a bit of a mess, and I ramble a lot. In fact, I think we have a rare 40-minute episode in here somewhere. We don't have a 40-minute episode. Episode 158, which is the 5th episode of this batch, was 39 minutes and 54 seconds. So just barely not 40 minutes. And the final episode of the batch was 36 minutes. So a good bit of rambling in these episodes, and actually quite a bit of pausing too. Quite a bit of a scene happens, I pause, I try to explain how I feel, unpause, keep on going, yada yada yada. So excuse that happens quite a bit. But I feel like these episodes kind of needed it, you know what I'm saying? I kind of feel like I had to over-explain these episodes because so much was going on. And I'm not actually going to go in depth on my thoughts on these episodes. I was planning to, when I was recording the episodes, I had kind of thought about going more in depth on my feelings in the redirect, but I kind of don't think I need to, especially looking back on it. I will touch on one thing, but I'll do that after a little bit more rambling here for the redirect. Before I forget though, I want to mention something. You see here the thumbnail for this episode. If you recall, the last redirect, I wasn't able to do a proper thumbnail because of some editing problems I was having because I was about to leave and I didn't have time to edit the thumbnail. But I would like to show you the thumbnail I had in mind for the previous episode. So, as you can see here, this was the one I used. It's very stupid, but it's also kind of charming. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of love it. But this is what I would have used if I had time to actually do it. And dude, I'm gonna be real. I'm kind of sad I didn't get to use this, because there were some banger choices. Like, these were actually pretty hard to choose, because, like, all of these episodes, all 5 of these had great moments. I think the only one I was 100% sure on was the top right and the bottom left. Those I was pretty sure on. Everything else, like, had a lot of good choices. Of course, top left, I wanted to have something with Bakugo, and I think I picked a pretty good one. The bottom right, I wanted to have something to do with those 2 characters, but I just couldn't decide what it would be. But I think this is a good shot to kind of sum up what happens in that episode. And then for the final one, I quite like this shot setting up, like, the final stretch of these episodes and the ending bit. I think I could have used a shot of the fog smoke guy. What's his name? Kurogiri? Something like that. I could have used him, but I didn't want to. So I went with this, and I think it's pretty cool. But let's go back to the main new episode. So here's the thumbnail for this one. I think I picked some pretty solid choices. Top left, I got the gentle scene in there. I love that scene. Top right, we got the shot, dude. We got the shot of what the fuck is his name? It's not Kurogimi. What's his name? The Birdman. Oh no. Anyways, it's Dark Shadow. I feel Tokoyami. Sorry, boys. You got Tokoyami and Dark Shadow. That's an awesome shot that pops up in there. I was gonna use another shot of Deku and the fuck's his name? It was going to be Deku and Shigaraki, but it ended up not looking so good, shrunk down, so I just chose this shot. I think it looks super cool. In the bottom left, I'm not entirely happy with it, but it was the best shot I could do that actually summed up the episode. There was an alternative shot I would have used of, like, All for One looking all skeletal and stuff, but I ended up going with this shot. I think it looks better overall. And it kind of sums up the episode a bit better. Although I will quickly pop the skeletal All for One shot on screen here. Like, I think it looks cool, but I don't think it, like, summarizes the episode as well as I would want it to. So, Also, here's the Teku shot. It's cool. It just didn't look as good, like, zoomed out. And, like, shrinking it down kind of confused, like, kind of made it look a bit weird, and it didn't work as good. Anyways, here's the difficult stuff. In the middle, we have a shot from the opening, actually. It's that shot from the opening of Sabi exploding, and I never realized all the hands reaching out, and I didn't understand what that was trying to say until, obviously, I watched the episode, and I was like, oh, all of the hands are all of his family. Very cool. It's great. I love that part a lot. And then in the bottom right, this was the hardest one to pick, because I liked the final image in the final spot here for the thumbnail. I wanted this to be the final shot. There were a few ideas I had, but I wanted it to be this shot because I thought it looked super cool. The split face, I imagine we're going to come back to this at the start of the final season, so I wanted it to kind of end off there. I think it sums up the gravity of this final bit here. But in the bottom right-hand corner, I wanted an image that summed up the Uraraka and Toga thing. And I just couldn't figure it out. So I went with this little shot from the ED of them, like, holding hands or, like, grabbing each other's arms. Oh, they are holding hands there. I went with that. I'm not entirely happy with it, but it's what I chose. There were a few other shots of them floating or, like, crying or something, but I just didn't like how they looked shrunken down. It just didn't work for my weird brain. But I will show you an alternative shot for the Tabi picture and the bottom right. So, here they are. I actually put these ones on the screen here in the actual thumbnail because I was so close to using them. So in the bottom here with Tabi, this is a shot from the ED, and I really love this shot, and I wanted to use it, but I think the opening shot is just way more of a gut punch. It's way more of a like, oh shit. Like, I think it sums up that entire thing a little bit better, and I like how it's not just about Todoroki and Dabi, because I really don't think that moment was about Todoroki and Dabi. It was the whole family. So I thought the other one worked better thematically, but I fucking love this shot, and I wish I could have put it on there, but I just couldn't. And then in the bottom right, this image is what I was looking for the bottom right. The problem is that shot is from the final episode, but I didn't want that to be the main image of the thumbnail. I wanted the main image to be All for One and All Might. So that image in the bottom right is from the final episode of the season, but the big image in the background is always from the final episode. So I would have gone with this because it's a better, like, encapsulation of what the episode was, but it's not actually what happens in the episode. So I ended up just going with this. I think it works. It does the job. I wish I had a better image for it, but you know what? You win some, you lose some, and this time I lost. Anyways, with all that said, feel free to go in the description, click on the links, do your thing, whatever. You know what to do. Go check out the episodes. Sorry this is a little late. A lot happened this month, but I'm back now. And hopefully we can get to some new stuff soon. I would like to finish Ouran High School Host Club at some point, but I'm also kind of eager to start something new. I believe I have something else I need to finish before I start something new, but I'll have to check on my list. But for now, My Hero is done. I believe a movie is coming out. I'll obviously be watching that too. Mind you, weird timing to put out a movie. I understand the series is ending. They want to do another movie. Just weird given we ended here and then we're gonna jump back to before all of this, and it's like, that's just fucking weird, dude. Anyways, that's gonna happen. We'll talk about what's coming up later in a different thing. But now that we're done here, and we've talked about the thumbnail, the recording process, also excuse if there's any like audio issues in any of these episodes. I had to edit this fairly quick because I was trying to get this out by the end of the month, but a lot of stuff was happening, so I kind of sped edited through this. So apologies if there's any problems with the audio, especially in the final 2 episodes. I don't think there were, but I didn't like go through it bit by bit as much as I usually would have, so apologies about that. Anyways, we've talked about the thumbnails, the recording process. We've talked about the show being done and what's coming next, briefly. Now I'm going to talk about the episodes. So spoilers for the episodes. We'll talk about them. I talk about them quite a bit in the actual Let's Watches themselves, but if you want, feel free to stick around. I'm about to talk about the session overall. Mainly the second to last and final episodes. Alright. Spoilers ahead in 3, 2, 1. Okay. Spoilers. So, overall, I enjoyed this session a lot. Gentle Criminal showing back up was awesome. I wish I could have put him in here more, but I just felt like other things were more important, and there was no way I wasn't going to put him in the top left corner of that shot. Because, dude, when it cuts to him sitting in front of the prison, I was so sure everyone broke out, and he was staying behind to show that he didn't want to leave, that he tried to stop people. But when the camera cuts to him, and everyone is held back, dude, it was so awesome. So that was awesome. I loved seeing him and, what's her name? La Squadra? I don't think her name's La Squadra, but her. I loved seeing him again. That was great. The All for One fight was awesome. I nearly made the bottom left image the shot of All for One holding Hawks, because I thought that shot was so awesome, but I didn't want to put, it's weird to say a spoiler in the thumbnail. I do that all the time, but I don't know. I felt it was not like detailed enough to really make for a thumbnail image, especially being shrunk down. But also it just felt a little, I wanted the shot of the big guy in there somewhere, and I thought that fit what happens in the episode a bit better. The point is, I thought the whole fight with All for One was cool. I genuinely didn't know what was happening, like what was going to happen, and genuinely surprised he just won. I also love the mechanic of him, like, de-aging. I find it so fascinating how All for One just kind of threw his body away and really seemed... I remember someone explained the idea of, like, what All for One had done to himself and what he had done to Shigaraki, and the idea that he was living on through Shigaraki. And I'll be honest, I kind of forget the details of it, but I'm still so caught up in the idea that All for One is, like, sacrificing his original body. I just find that so crazy that doesn't bother him. Like, he's literally going to die. He's doomed himself here. And I understand the body's bad and all, but, like, that is still him. Like, that is his core. Like, yes, he's implanted this seed in Shigaraki, and they are more connected than you can possibly be with another person, and he may as well be a part of Shigaraki, but he's not Shigaraki, right? He is still in this original body, and being so willing to sacrifice himself just for the sake of furthering his scheme is just, I just can't get over it. It's so cool. It's such a cool way of, like, giving you a glimpse at, like, a full powered All for One, because we've never seen that, at least not in the show, in, like, the main show. So to see it is so bizarre and terrifying. And even then, this isn't quite a full power, because he's given so many of his quirks to Shigaraki. But yeah, like, I'm just so... I genuinely love this whole All for One fight where he's beginning to de-age, and it is a timer on this invincible, unstoppable force. Because this would be the kind of thing where if the show didn't establish a timer and it was just like, oh yeah, he's de-aged to his peak, that's it, I would be like, okay, this is going to inevitably suck, as I do quite often, especially in this show, where they set up a really cool situation, and you're like, that's really cool, but the heroes need to get out of it. So somehow they're going to get out of it, and it's going to be disappointing, and whether it is or isn't the point. I'm spending that entire time getting ready for it to be disappointing, which is a me problem 100%. But the point is, it happens all the time in this show and in a bunch of other shows. But by establishing the de-aging thing, suddenly he can be all-powerful. He can kill everyone. He can wreck house. He can do all this. And I'm not thinking about the future at all, because I know there is a get-out-of-jail-free card, and he's going to de-age himself to death. And not only is that an interesting concept, but it gives my brain a chance to just watch what's happening and not think about, oh, what's going to happen in the future? How are they going to stop him? Like, what's Deku going to do? What's All Might going to do? It doesn't matter. And because of that, I was so blindsided when All Might showed up, because I was like, it doesn't matter. No one needs to do anything. There doesn't have to be a plan. He's going to solve his own problem at some point. And I just loved how blindsided I was when All Might was just like standing there, like I'm gonna fight him. It's awesome. But yeah, that whole thing, like, as I mentioned, I wasn't thinking about the future. So when he took Hawks' quirk, I was like, oh shit, because I just didn't think it was gonna happen. Because I was like, they're just gonna stall him and he's gonna die. I don't know. Sure, he's gonna die. We know he can die. But of course, it's not gonna be by someone's hand, I assume. Someone's just gonna stall him to the point that he dies. Anywho, I mean, someone will probably kill him for the sake of defeating All for One. But, like, I wouldn't be shocked if they don't, and if he just runs out of time. I just think that's so cool. And the fact that it covered, like, so many episodes, just this one fight of All for One getting ganked by all sides, on all sides, getting so overwhelmed, but able to overcome it again and again and again. And I love that they gave him this, like, protagonist energy of, like, he's younger, so his quirk is able to evolve and break its own limits and do this and that because he's younger. And the idea is, like, younger people can evolve their quirks and get stronger and overcome themselves through adolescent I don't even know what to call it. Adolescent possibility? I don't know. I just think it's cool. And I'm a big fan of everything that happened there. Now let's shut the fuck up and let's talk about the Dobby episode. The Dobby episode was so fucking good. I forget. Oh my god. I remember I cried in the Dobby episode. Whew. Dude. The whole thing was great, right? Like, as Dobby was with Endeavor, my first thought was, okay, Endeavor's gonna die. Fair enough. I had a hunch. I had a hunch the whole time that Endeavor was gonna die fighting Dobby. And I even had the idea, but I don't think I ever said it, that he was gonna grab onto Dobby, fly into the air, and blow them both up. Kinda like he did with All for One, but he would be holding him and it would be a hug and it would be this kind of like bittersweet moment where he finally shows his son affection, but it's in this terrible, ironic twist. So when he started like burning up and exploding, I was like, okay, here it comes. But then you get that incredible scene where like Endeavor is talking to him and Dobby is just like broken. Like there's nothing left in him and he's just rage and anger and it's just so sad. And then there's this moment where he realizes it and he goes, oh fuck, I could have had it. There was a way I could have fixed it. Like there was a path for me and it's too late now. And he goes to blow. And then, dude, Ida and Todoroki, Ida's actor, I believe J. Michael Tatum. Holy shit. Dude blows me away. Then Todoroki, like, they hit the ground and Todoroki just rolls and then gets up and just starts running. He doesn't do any cool, like, ice skating or fire tornado or anything. He just starts running. He's just a man running. And it's so cool. And then he gets there and Dobby's blowing up. His whole family's there. And I'm sitting here like, okay, Todoroki's obviously going to stop it because Todoroki is not going to die. But there was a second where I was genuinely thinking Todoroki's family is going to die. Dobby is going to kill Endeavor and kill the family. I genuinely thought that. But then, the moment Todoroki got there, I was like, okay, Todoroki's gonna stop it. And he does. And it's a spectacle, and it's awesome. But then the real highlight comes. Everyone's frostbitten to hell. Todoroki is like barely even conscious. Dobby is on the ground and he starts crying and the tears turn into ice and it's like, that's awesome. But then Endeavor crawls over to him and starts apologizing. And then he apologizes to the kids and his wife and I'm on the verge of tears. And then he apologizes to Todoroki. And I think he says like, Shoto. And then Shoto just collapses. And then Endeavor starts to apologize. And it just, like, you can read it as Todoroki just didn't have the strength and he just collapsed. I read it as Todoroki wanted to make sure everyone was okay. So he's standing there, like, ready to act if he has to. He knows he doesn't have anything left, but he's standing there just waiting to see if it's all over. He hears the apologies and he's just waiting and waiting and waiting. And then his father says Shoto. And he realizes, okay, Dad's just apologizing. Dabi's not doing anything. The family's safe. It's done. And then Endeavor comes to him, and he's about to apologize to him, and Todoroki doesn't feel the ill will towards his father. He doesn't feel it enough to bother even listening. He realizes that they're all safe, and he just drops. Because he doesn't need to hear it. Because he knows. He knows now. And just the growth of Todoroki, even though it's happened before this episode, I just love that moment so much where, like, and I think I say it in the episode, he doesn't need to hear it. Like, Endeavor is apologizing at this point, but Todoroki already knows. Everyone here knows, but I just love that Todoroki drops. Like, he's hearing the whole thing until it comes to him, and then he's able to just relax. It just gets me, man. It just got me in that moment. It was a great scene, a great build-up, and then that moment just... oh! It got me, man. Also, Stain showed up at some point. I forget when, but Stain showed up. I don't think he did anything, but he showed up, so I assume he'll do something in the final season. I don't know, maybe he'll beat up All For One and then die, and I'll be like, cool. Number one Stain hater is still here, me. Anyways, that was the Dabi episode. Fucking awesome. Let's talk about the final episode, or the final two episodes, I guess. I don't have to talk about the All For One All Might stuff too much, or the Deku Shigaraki whirlwind of power, whatever fuck was going on there. What I will talk about is the Uraraka and Himiko Toga scene. The whole thing there. And I would like to preface this with, as I mentioned, this was recorded... What's happening? My cats are being stupid. This was I'm gonna stop. Hold on. I'm gonna beat up... Okay. I was gonna beat my cat up, but he stopped. Anyways, I would like to preface this with, this was all recorded... We're 30 minutes into this. Who fucking cares? This was all recorded in a hotel. So my number one concern was that I wouldn't be able to get as invested in the episodes if I'm not in my usual recording space. Because the laptop is a bit smaller than my main computer monitors, so I was afraid that it would, like, look different. I was afraid using a different program to play the videos would feel different. I was afraid having different headphones was gonna throw me off. Like, I was really worried about not being invested in this episode or not being able to process it properly or whatever. And while I think that was true to an extent, specifically, I think my discussion after the fact was extra rambly because I was, like, processing it kind of slower than I usually would, but then again, I do that all the time, so I digress. My point is, I was really afraid of my recording setup for that episode detracting from my ability to enjoy it. But ironically, it became probably my favorite episode. That episode, the second to last and the last episode, the ones I recorded in the hotel, were probably my favorites of the entire season, and definitely up there as my favorite episodes of the series. Probably top 10. Specifically, the Uraraka and Toga stuff. I was just so floored that I enjoyed it. I talk about this a bit in the episode, but I was so ready for it to be kind of disappointing because they had set up that these characters need to talk. These characters need to talk. They've been setting it up for like a season and a half now, if not longer. It has been set up for so long that Uraraka and Toga have a unique relationship, and I've been waiting for them to follow up on it. I don't need it to be romantic. I don't need it to be them talking about how much they liked Deku. I don't need it to be about superheroes and supervillains. I just want it to be interesting. I just wanted something to happen. Something that made me like the characters, right? Especially Toga. I've been steadily enjoying Toga more and more and more throughout this series. If you go all the way back to season 1, I wasn't big on Toga. I thought Toga was actually really boring, didn't have anything going on besides, whoa, she's crazy, and I didn't really like her. As the series went on and we got to see more of her, I liked her more and more. I think I liked her during the camping trip, specifically when she was like talking to Uraraka, and the moment she like stopped being obsessed with Deku and became interested in other people, I became more curious about the character, because she isn't just, you know, weird love triangle with Deku and Uravity, which is funny because the reason I grew to like her was because of her relationship with Uraraka. So ironically enough, I guess that dynamic did play a part in why I liked her, even though I was afraid I wouldn't like her because of it. I digress. The point is, they had built this scene up for so long, and I had even had external things build it up. As I've seen Toga trending on Twitter, like months, years ago, I saw her trending. I saw Uraraka trending. I saw like just a manga panel of them talking, and I was like, what is that? So like, so many things built it up. And I don't think I was prepared for it to actually be good. As I mentioned in the episode, I was ready to kind of come out of it going, that was inevitably disappointing. Even if it was done well, I think I would have been disappointed just because it wasn't what I wanted, or it didn't go the direction I was hoping it would, or something, right? I thought I would come out of it at best going, it's not what I would have done, but I liked it. But ultimately, I came out of it absolutely loving it. I thought it was so... I mentioned I didn't want it to be melodramatic, and it is melodramatic as all hell. Even more than, like, usual with this fucking show. But I don't know, man. Something about it just hit, and I really loved it. And I don't... Even with all this time, I still don't know exactly what it is. I just love their dynamic so much. There is something so immensely appealing to me about these two characters and how they interact. And just this, like, need in my soul for Toga to, like, take the mask off. You know, like, this whole episode, I was just... like, this whole fight with them, the mangaka clearly knew, like, I haven't read the manga, but it definitely feels like the mangaka wanted you to be watching that fight thinking, God, Toga, just listen to her. Just give her a chance. Just talk to her, please. But she keeps just lashing out and yelling and saying things that just aren't progressing the conversation. And you're like, Toga, no! And, like, dude, when she stabs her, it's like, fuck, this is anime, she's gonna be okay. But that's the end of the conversation, right? And I think I even mentioned in the episode, like, okay, she stabbed you. She's there. Grab her. Like, she is as close to you as she has ever been. Grab her and start talking to her. And that's exactly what she does. It's so cool. And yeah, like how that conversation builds and builds until finally she starts to open up a bit and starts to show her vulnerabilities, and you get to know her and like why she's doing this and where she's coming from and how she's been led down this path. And I'm so excited the whole time, and I'm like, this is awesome. I love this. I don't think I talked much because I was just watching it. I was just obsessed with the fact that it was happening. And dude, when everything starts to get like picked up, I'm like, oh god. Oh god. And thinking about it now, was that, I don't think I ever realized it, or I forgot, when Uravity like grabs Toga and everything, like all of the clones start to get like picked up into the air, was that Uravity doing it? It was, right? It wasn't Toga like using her quirk or anything. That was Uraraka's quirk, which I don't think Uraraka's quirk could do that, right? Like, she needs to touch them, but she didn't touch all of them. I think the episode did actually talk about why it was happening. It's just been so long since I watched it that I've forgotten, but I believe they mention why it happened, like the logic behind it. Either way, it was cool, and it was an effective visual symbolism for what was happening in the scene. Jean's outfit like peeling off of her, the black outfit peeling off as Uraraka is able to get through to Toga more and more. I love that so much. And then, dude, Toga talking about the boy she liked and how she never got to like tell him because she was so afraid. And then like the shot of them as kids and her like holding out her arm was great. I almost made that the thumbnail. And then the shot of Toga with the all twisted up body and like she's like this terrible monster. I thought that was a cool shot. But dude, it all comes down to the am I cute? And just with pure honesty, she says she's the cutest girl in the world. And I just can't, dude. To this day, after that episode, I tried to formulate why that hit me so hard, and I couldn't. And with all this time that's passed, like a full month of me thinking on it, I still can't put it into words why it hit me. It's just, man, I don't know. And I even talk about this in the episode itself, and I would like to talk about it a little bit more. I'm curious about what the fan reception is of that scene. I don't know if the mangaka has talked about it at all, but I mentioned in the episode that I do interpret Toga's feelings for Uraraka as romantic, but I believe I specified that Toga's idea of romance is fucking weird. So I don't mean in a conventional romantic sense. Like, I don't think she wants to, like, kiss Uraraka and, like, get married or anything. But I don't know if she would want that for Deku either. I think she's weird, and her form of affection is drinking blood. And the most intimate thing she could ever do is share blood. Like, that is insane. Like, that is a kiss for Toga. Like, in my mind, she does have romantic feelings for Toga, but Toga does have romantic love for Uraraka and Deku both. But as I said, it's different love. It's not me saying, oh, I ship them and they're so cute and blah blah blah, because, like, no, I don't think they should be a couple. But I do interpret it as the deepest form of love Toga can feel for a person. And in that sense, I do see it as a romantic form of love. And I think in that moment, Uraraka is the person she loves the most in the world. The fuck was that? My cats just, like, tore something up. I don't know what they just did. Anyways, in my mind, like, because I don't even know if Deku would say something like that to her. Like, I really don't think he would. I think Deku is too... not, like, milquetoast, but I think he's too heroic to ever, like, acknowledge her in a... I think he's too... what's the word? Too chivalrous to ever, like, refer to her as cute. Like, I don't think he would ever do that. So, hold on, I'm gonna go beat up my cats. My apologies. My cats were being stupid. Anyways. Yeah, like, I just can't see Deku ever seeing her in a purely unbiased way. The way Uraraka was able to. And I don't know, man. Once again, I'm very curious about the general fan interpretation of that scene, because I don't think I talked about it in the episode itself. I don't think I mentioned, I'm curious how other people read this. I was just so focused on, like, communicating my perspective that I didn't really talk about my curiosity on how the general fan base has interpreted that scene. Because, as I mentioned, I definitely see it as, in my mind, when Toga mentioned she loves Uraraka, I believe she even mentioned that she loves Sue, too. I assumed she loves Deku like a boy loves a girl, like she romantically loves him, but she loves Uraraka as a little pet, like she loves her as a toy, right? Like, I saw it in just kind of like a weird serial killer way, and I never interpreted it as romantic. I was curious if that was a direction they'd go, but I didn't think it was. I just never once thought they would actually go that route. So to see the scene play out the way it did, it really fucking shocked me, because I was like, I don't know how to interpret this, but romantic love. Once again, as romantic as Toga's mind can get, because I think she has a very different perspective on love. But it just shocked me that, like, it seemed, in my perspective, she loves Uraraka the same way she loves Seku. And then there's Jean. And it's like the curiosity of, like, how did she love Jean? I have no idea. Obviously, I think it's fair to say she loves Uraraka more than Jean. I would even argue it's very fair to say she loves Uraraka stronger than Deku, too. But in my mind, she sees Jean as more like a brother. And it's like a familial love. She saw Deku as a boy she liked, a boy she had a crush on. But to me, Uraraka was like as genuine love as Toga could get. And I wonder if I'm seeing that differently than other people, or if I'm seeing it wrong and I just took the wrong thing out of that scene. I don't know. I'm really curious how other people see it. So if you have any thoughts on that, feel free to chime in, because I'm really curious, like, what generally the audience thinks about that scene and that relationship. Because once again, I was expecting it to be really disappointing, really underwhelming, but I was thoroughly whelmed. I was overwhelmed by that scene. And, yeah. Now we have to talk about the final episode and the ending of that exchange. So that scene happens. I am thoroughly overwhelmed. I believe I fucking cried like a bitch. I believe I did. I forget if I did, but I think I did. Then, the next episode happens. And I think with the month I've had to think about it, when I ended the final episode, I was pretty convinced Toga did not die. It's partially the fact that I was like so tired that I don't think I was thinking clearly. But I came out of that episode kind of thinking, they really treated that like Toga died. But she clearly didn't. You know me, when Bakugo died in the previous patch of episodes, I said, oh, he's dead, but he's not actually dead. Whenever Deku gets hurt, I'm like, oh, he's dead, but he's not actually dead. Because the story can't continue if they're dead. In the same way, I was like, Toga's dead, but she's not actually dead. Like, they'll find a way to bring her back. I think I even mentioned, like, oh, Uraraka will, like, use her quirk to revive her by making her heart float or something stupid. Like, I was so coping that I thought, nah, she's not dead. Because I was like, there's no way they'd give her all this character growth and then kill her. But then it hit me like, this is the final season. And I really get the vibe that the entire final season, or at least the vast majority of it, is gonna be this final fight. I kind of thought there would be, like, more. Like, there would be a break in all this. Because for some reason, I always assumed Toga joined the heroes at some point. Not from any, like, spoilers I saw, but I saw enough, like, implications of it. Like, I'd see manga panels of her talking to Uraraka, or I'd see fan art of her in, like, UA clothing, and, like, there was just enough, like, external references to her joining UA at some point that I guess in my mind, that was coming up. And this scene of her, like, befriending Uraraka and becoming, like, a good human being, or at least a complicated human being, that was in my mind like confirmation, oh, that came from somewhere. Even if it's just like in the final chapter, there's just a mention of it. To me, that was like, okay, that's coming at some point. Like, all of that art and discussion and stuff came from somewhere, and it came from here, right? In my head, she wasn't dead. Now that a month has passed, I think she's dead. Honest to God, I don't know if I should even ask for confirmation. If she's dead, I kind of want confirmation. Because I don't want to go into the final season expecting any more of her, and then she doesn't show up. So I kind of want the Band-Aid pulled off now, just so I don't expect it. But if she's not dead, I kind of want to be surprised about it, so I don't know how to feel. Like, I don't know. Like, I genuinely don't know if she's dead or not. In the manga, I've been very good at, like, avoiding spoilers on who dies and who lives. Like, I know, I'm 99% sure Deku lives. I assume Shigaraki's gonna die. Shrug, I assume. I assume All For One is going to die. I assume All Might's gonna die, probably. But I don't know any of that. Like, the only spoilers I've seen of the end of the series is, like, the final volume cover of, like, a kid running and, like, Deku's in the background, like All Might was on the first cover, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. But, like, that's all I've seen, so I have no idea who lives and who dies. I just assumed Deku's gonna live and blah, blah, blah. But, like, I have no fucking clue, so I don't know if Toga's dead or not. I genuinely don't know what to think. Like, that scene where she gives Uraraka her blood, which, by the way, like, in Toga's mind, the sweetest thing I've ever seen in my fucking life. Like, oh my god, that, like, the way she's, like, in her head, like, giving life to the bird, I'm like, I can't, dude, you have no idea. The way her quirk is, like, reinterpreted as, like, a way to help people, and her obsession with blood is, like, a way to help people. I can't fucking fathom it, dude. I love that so much. I love the intimacy of literally giving Uraraka her blood. So fucking sweet. But then, I'm, like, sitting here thinking, could they explain her surviving? Yes. But that scene was definitely framed like she was dead. But then there's a part of me that's like, if she was dead, they would have made it very clear she was dead. Like, in anime, just because a character is quote-unquote dying doesn't mean they're dead, right? Just because you see a character dead on the floor doesn't mean they're dead. Did you see Bakugo literally have his heart stop? He's not dead. That's not enough. For a character to be dead in an anime, you need the fucking heart monitor to go beep, and even then they might still come back. Like, you need a funeral, you need them put in the ground, or you need their body destroyed. Like, you need their head to blow up, you need them to be a charred corpse, and even then, maybe they'll come back. So, like, I don't know, man. Like, I really did not think she was dead. But the more I've sat on it, the more I'm like, fuck, I think she's dead. Like, I think they killed her. Which, I hate the trope. And I understand why it's done, and it makes perfect sense, but I hate it. I hate the trope of a character getting a big emotional character arc, like a big moment right before they die. I hate that. I hate it so much, and I don't even mean in like shonen and stuff. Literally in any show where a character is brought in, or a character is revealed, or whatever, the way anime will, and even other shows too, like, the way media will have a character not be mentioned once. Like, they will not be explained, brought up, or anything. They'll come out of nowhere. You'll be like, this character came out of fucking nowhere, and it sucks, and I don't care. And then they'll be in the show, and you'll be like, this character sucks, and I don't care. They just came out of nowhere. And then you'll finally get used to them, and you'll be like, okay, fine, I guess I'm used to this character. It's been 3 seasons now. And then you'll get a big lore dump, and you'll realize why this character matters, why this character is important to the show, and the themes of the show, and why they're friends with the main character, and you'll be like, oh, suddenly I like this character, actually. It's the same way I felt about Bakugo for a bunch of the early seasons. I was like, Bakugo sucks. I don't like this character. He just yells a lot. And to be fair, I feel I was justified in feeling that way. But then when they gave him more to do, I was like, oh, suddenly I like this character. Suddenly, in retrospect, I like this character more. They've done great things. But the difference here is I started to like Bakugo, and then he kept showing up more, and he kept evolving and growing and becoming a completely different human being. Same thing with Todoroki, same thing with Deku, same thing with All Might. All that. But in so much media, you'll get this big moment where you finally like a character, and then they die. And they drop all of that on you so that you care when they die. Because if they didn't drop all of that on you, you wouldn't care. You wouldn't care. Except that's stupid. Of course I would care. A main character is dying. Like, I don't need you to, give me a super awesome character arc and then take the character away. I don't need that. I don't need it. Anyways. The point is, I think Toga's dead, and that makes me very sad. I understand we probably wouldn't have time for the scene in my brain where Uraraka goes to prison and visits Toga in prison, and they have one of those chats through the glass where they just talk about, life and their interests, and they, talk about having, a sleepover. And, Uraraka talks about, her hero work, and, I don't know. They could just, talk about stuff. I just want them to be friends now, and, have a conversation that doesn't involve one of them dying. I just want that really bad. And even if it never happened, I could imagine it happened, but if Toga's dead, I can't imagine it, so I'm very sad. And, where does Uraraka go from here? I understand this is going to, fundamentally shift her perspective on villains, but I don't care. because she's gonna leave the show, because the show's gonna end soon. So I don't care what she does in the future with other villains. I don't care. I want to know how this affects her relationship with Toga. But if Toga's dead, the relationship ends there. And all this interesting stuff that just happened, and all this growth she's went through, and the dynamic of this relationship does not matter now. Because it's done. And then the show's gonna end, and it's not gonna matter, and it's just gonna... I'm just gonna sit here, and I'm gonna be sad. Like, I want Toga to be a physical reminder of the lessons Uraraka has learned through their relationship and their exchange. But instead, if Toga's dead, I'm just gonna be sad. So I don't know. I think Toga's dead, guys. I don't... Like, I'm still coping a little bit, as you can probably tell. Because I don't want her to be dead. I like her a lot. Especially after these episodes. I cried like a bitch, dog. I straight up fucking cried like a bitch. And I don't cry, man. I'm a big, strong man, and I'm a masculine alpha male. But, like, I cried like a bitch, dude. And I can't help it. I love this character. I love these two so much. And just, like, I don't know. I'm really sad thinking about her being dead. Because I think she's dead. Because she literally has no blood in her body. I think she's dead. But that's so fucked up. That's so fucked up. And I get it. I get that's what these shows do. They like their little tragic endings. But it's not fair. Anyways. How long have I been talking for? It's almost an hour. Oh my god, this redirect's an hour long. Alright, boys. We're straight up stopping here because I cannot talk for an hour. Is this the longest redirect? This is probably the longest redirect on this channel. I think I've had a longer one, but it was on another channel, so it doesn't quite count. Anyways, we're going to stop here because it is 1 a.m. I'm recording this at 1:30 a.m. I'm tired. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for being patient. I know this, as I mentioned, came out a little later than it should have, but thank you for the patience. I talked about this a lot. If you guys have any other thoughts about these episodes, I genuinely love to hear them. Post them in the comments, and I will have a full-on discussion with you about it, because I feel so strongly. I may not be able to put it into good words, but I will passionately try. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. I'm going to go to bed now, and then I'm going to edit this in the morning. So, thank you so much for listening to me ramble. I'm probably going to put timestamps in the comments and the description, just so that people don't have to sit through an hour-long redirect. But thank you so much. I'll see you on the next episode of whatever comes next, and, yeah, that's it. Thank you. I hope I don't have dreams about this. I feel like because I'm recording this just before I go to bed, I'm gonna have dreams about recording this, and it's gonna be so fucking weird. Anyways, goodbye. I'm gonna kiss the mic now. There you go. Okay, bye. I'm so tired.